My name is Michael Hammond.
My name is Armani Jenkins.
Michaela Twig.
Isaac Davis.
Taylor Llewellyn.
Naaman Pope.
Kayla Dismuke.
Delilah Pope.
My name is Garcelle Hodge. I am from Richmond, California. I am a sophomore and I am a criminal justice major. Freshman year, I was in a room with a group of people. We were just like studying and hanging out. And one of the girls made a comment about like, oh, like let's go eat at this specific food place. Like, you know, a specific food that's aimed towards more what black people like. And they kind of looked at me and I was like, oh, it's because I'm black. And I was totally joking. I wasn't like really offended by it. And then one of the girls said, oh, that whole Black Lives Matter thing doesn't matter. And I was just like, what? Like what? I was so shocked. She talked for like 8-10 minutes about why her whole statement that she made was totally fine and right. And then she mentioned, oh yeah, like I have a bunch of black friends. I'm not racist. This is just because you have black friends does not mean you are not racist. At the end, she was just like, yeah, and that's why I believe that black lives just don't matter. And I was so mad. I have never experienced that, like, ever. And I just, like, saw red and I was completely silent. And I just, like, left the room because I couldn't say anything. I was so upset about it.
What did she do after that? Or what was your interaction after?
She had texted me that night, and she was like, oh, I'm so sorry if I offended you. Like, I just want you to let you know that your opinion's yours and my opinion's mine, and we could still be friends after this. Like, I was civil when I saw her, but, like, we haven't talked since, like, freshman year.
My freshman year, when I first got to Harding, I had a bunch of people who, like, assumed my major, and they thought I was an exercise science major. They also thought I played a sport here. And I remember one kid even asked me, was I from Africa?
Really?
Yeah.
We visited a local congregation before school had started. And before the service had started, while everyone was still mingling and, you know, visiting with one another, a couple of people approached us and they automatically assumed that we were on the basketball team. Like, just automatically, oh, you girls play basketball. Oh my gosh, what team do you guys play for? You know, just talking to us like they just knew that we were on the basketball team. And, you know, of course we told them, no, we're not on the basketball team. But after that, you know, one of them proceeded to, like, just put their arm through, like, my earring and, like, all that. And just, I don't know. But I wasn't too really messed up about that, about the whole earring thing. But the fact just assuming that I play a sport, and I was not in any type of sweats, no type of athletic gear at all. So just assuming that I'm an athlete, that kind of like, because I'm black, like, no.
I think the biggest misconception for me is that anytime people in our community speak on the issues that we face, it's looked at as complaining, or we're not, like, appreciating how far that we've come. And yes, we have come a long way since, like, Jim Crow laws and all of that, but there still is a lot of basic things, well, to me, basic things that need to be done that people aren't looking at. Just because we don't have Jim Crow laws anymore, or slavery, there are other issues such as police brutality, mass incarceration, and a lot of people don't like to look at those things because they don't affect them. And so because they don't affect them directly, they like to make it seem like we're just making a bigger issue out of nothing. And it actually is a big issue that affects a lot of people in our community.
Some common misconceptions I experience here at Harding are, one specifically I think of is the type of music I listen to. You know, I've often had people mention artists to me that I've never heard of, that specifically rap artists, of course. And for the most part, you know, I tend to listen to gospel music or stuff like, or even alternative music is actually some of my favorite. And people always assume, you know, I like the beat that they're making on a table or something, and it's kind of weird to, you know, always have that thrown at you. I'm from Dallas, Texas, and so one misconception is just the type of words I use. People often think, you know, I'm just cool with using a certain word to describe myself or my friends, because that's what, you know, they think is cool. And so they'll assume that I use that word, or they'll assume that it's okay to use that word with me when it's not. And I tend to do my best to not use that word also.
Yeah, I mean, being at Harding, I've been approached with a couple, but the most, like, dominant ones that I've been constantly approached with was definitely are you an athlete? You must play basketball. You have to. Or you have to run track. It's either or when I'm here for academic purposes only. Another misconception that I get is when people see me and then approach me and I start interacting with them and I open my mouth and speak with them, it's an alarming misconception that I always hear is that, oh, you act so white, and they're surprised by it, and it surprises me when they say it every single time because I'm just so astonished that they can think that way. Like, the misconception is so harsh, and I don't think they understand the gratitude and magnitude of what they're saying. And when I ask them again, what do you mean by that? They always have a hard time telling me what they mean because what they truly want to say is very degrading and stereotypical when whatever comes after that. Oh, like, oh, you don't act black, like you're not ghetto, or, you know, you're not loud, or snap your fingers, like, or you don't dress loud. So that's just a misconception that I wish people could work on and really reflect on themselves for that.
Some common misconceptions that I get is people sometimes assume my race. Because I am a lighter tone than perhaps most, a lot of people assume, oh, you're mixed, things like that. And it kind of goes to show that, like, we put people in boxes. Like, every black person isn't dark. We come in different shades. Another thing is we put each other into boxes of the way we act, the music we listen to, the way we carry ourselves, the clothes we wear. There's diversity within the diversity. It's a lot easier for us to say, oh, we're different because we're different races, and that diversity is beautiful. But what about the diversity inside of those groups?
Well, I'm from Memphis, and a common misconception is like that I'm from the hood, or like they'll be like, oh, you're from Memphis, you're a Memphis girl. And I'm like, you know, what is a Memphis girl? I don't know what that means. Like, I'm ghetto or something like that. Yes, one time, it was about 4 years ago, me and my niece went into the store, and we were just walking through the store, and this lady came up to me, and she was like, you and your daughter are so cute. And keep in mind, this was like 4 years ago, so I look even younger than I look now. And I was just like, you know, I was like, no, she's not my daughter. So I feel like that was kind of stereotyping me. Yeah.
Well, my misconception is that, like, they feel like we are ghetto because we wear, like, a certain, like, type of style, or we wear, like, big hoop earrings. And I don't like that because I just like big hoop earrings. Like, they're very cool and they're cute. And I don't want people to think that I'm ratchet because I listen to this type of music, or I'm ghetto because I use this type of slang. I don't like people trying to put me in a box or trying to say this about me before even meeting me.
I think the biggest misconception I get is when people find out I'm 50% white and 50% black, they're like, oh, which parent is the white one? And I say my mother, and they're like, oh, okay, I totally understand. Like, yeah, and it almost feels like I'm a certain type of black person that they will accept more versus a different, like, a other black person. And I just feel like I love both of my parents, but, like, the color of their skin or my skin shouldn't determine what type of black person I am or anyone should be.
There was a time in high school where we were just going around the room, and it was like just a get to know you exercise to just bring us together, like, with our common struggles and stuff. And the teacher was like, oh, you know, raise your hand if you've come from a single parent household. And, like, 3 girls looked at me like, you can raise your hand? So you would imagine I got really angry about that. I was born and raised in a 2-parent household, my biological mom and my biological father. So to just assume that all African American families have one mother and an absent father, yes, I am aware of the statistics, but to just group me and just assume that my father isn't in my life, that is very unfair and disrespectful.
And just, like, being back home, just, like, I had people, like, teachers and stuff tell me that I would never amount to anything just because, like, of the color of my skin and stuff like that.